This video is sponsored by NordVPN. I think I'm done playing Prototype for the Xbox 360. I know, I never thought I'd say that either, but it's been 10 years. Things have moved on. I've moved on. But that's okay though. I mean, I'll just trade it in. It's probably not worth what it was in 2009, but look at it on the box. It's a classic. It's got to be worth a few quid. Just give me a second. Hello. I was hoping to trade this in, please.
No worries, Chris. No, it's just 10p.
10p?
Yeah.
Oh, I think...
What were you hoping for? It's obviously just no against us.
Right, okay. Okay, you know what, I'll keep it.
No worries.
Thank you so much. Cheers. 10p. 10p! I'll throw it away before I give it to them for 10p. But okay, slightly more seriously, I want to talk about the games that don't end up on the second-hand market. Not everything is going to be a treasured collectible. Sorry, Prototype. Yeah, in a few years, this 10p could be worth 0p, or what if I'd scratched the disc? There goes any possible resale value. So, my question is there an environmentally conscious way of actually getting rid of one of these? As far as the UK goes, I'd like to think that I'm in the right place to give that a go. I live in Brighton, home of the Green Party's very first Member of Parliament. Shout out to Caroline Lucas, fighting that good fight. I guess to classify what we've got here, there are three separate things. The plastic box, the disc, and then our paper, which I think is probably the best place to start. If we can't recycle this, then, well, our video is in quite a bit of trouble, isn't it? Thankfully, in the UK at least, there is a way of determining whether or not you can recycle paper. Introducing the scrunch test. Simply grab the paper you wish to dispose of and give it a little squeeze, just so. If it holds its shape post-scrunch, then I've got good news for you. That paper is off to live another life as a newspaper or a toilet roll. Get that scrunched up bowl of possibilities into your nearest paper recycling bin and you are all set. However, if you give it a squeeze and then it begins to spring back to its original shape, that's a no-go. In the UK at least, you can't recycle that with the rest of your paper. Sorry mate, you're not getting in. On your way. Okay, this feels wrong. Let's give this a little scrunch. To me, it looks like that is holding its shape, so that can be popped in our paper recycling bin at the end of our street, along with, hopefully, well, this has some staples to get rid of, actually. There we go, there we go. One down, two to go. So as for the disc and box itself, you can recycle these in the UK, although only at certain recycling centres, and some local areas won't even have them. Thankfully, we do have one, although it's about a 35-minute walk away from here, which makes this slightly more of a faff. Now, given the topic at hand, we probably shouldn't drive there, and I guess the dog does need a walk, so let's do some recycling. We could just come to recycle something.
Yeah.
Do you know where the CD and DVDs bit is?
Yeah, if you go over to the other side.
Over to the other side.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you so much. Thank you, please. Oh, there's console games, got it. When you recycle a CD or DVD, it's eventually fed into something called a granulator, which is a machine that's basically full of knives. Yeah, just loads of them, spinning around at extremely high speeds. Pop your game disc in there and it'll come out the other end looking like this. That pile of flakes is then sorted with any ink, paper or waste material being removed until you're left with just the good stuff, the polycarbonate plastic. Now it may not look like much, but everyone will want a piece of this. Polycarbonate is durable, it's heat resistant, and it's transparent. The construction industry goes mad for it. They'll want to turn our disc into someone's conservatory, or greenhouse, or a nice bus shelter. So the disc itself is in good hands, sure, but what about the box? Is that going to get recycled too? Because yes, they're both made of plastic, but they're different types of plastic. Have I just sent that on a slightly more complicated journey to the landfill? To find out, I tried to arrange an interview with someone at the local recycling centre, but instead ended up blagging on with the technical director for one of the largest recycling companies in the UK instead.
With a gaming box, I guess it's made of mainly polycarbonate.
Yeah, so the DVD I think is polycarbonate, and then I believe the plastic case is polypropylene. Is that right?
Polypropylene box with a polycarbonate interior. Polycarbonate is quite a valuable plastic. There's not a lot of it around, it's not the most ubiquitous one, but we can recycle it, and we can recycle polypropylene as well, but we do have to separate them.
Just like the game itself, he told me that the plastic case will also end up being granulated and then purified before being sold back to companies who could potentially use it to make things like piping, laboratory equipment, or my personal favourite, the stickers that go onto a Rubik's Cube. So how do they do that? How do they make sense of it all? Allow me to struggle to put this high-vis vest on and show you. A few days ago, I was given a tour of one of Veolia's recycling centres in London, which they claim to be one of the most advanced recycling facilities in all of Europe. Here, they rely on a staggering amount of overlapping conveyor belts and automation to separate the different materials and remove any contaminants, like that one, right there. Someone slipped in some cat food with the aluminium cans, mate. That'll need fixing. There's also quite a bit of quality control done by people as well, which seems like a super demanding job, by the way. These folks are grabbing up to 60 items per minute, I was told. With this facility remaining operational all day, every day, I can't imagine that's easy going. Once the sorting has been done, there's a lot of this and that, some more of this, and we end up here with a site that I can't help but compare to something a little more biological.
It's all just one big intestine.
Yeah. It's all just one big intestine. I'm sorry. In truth, I thought this place was impressive. Presumably my copy of prototype ended up somewhere similar, and if everything works as it's meant to, most of it would end up being recycled. Now I say most of it because there is some inevitable waste to consider, like the ink used for the cover, instruction manual, and on the front of the disc, for example. There's also the outer sleeve itself. I asked about that bit during our interview.
Yeah, if that's polyethylene, probably that part is not going to get recycled, but it's about less than 5% of the weight. So generally, if something's less than 5% of the weight of the products, we would consider that it's a recyclable thing overall. You might have some small components that are not. But you could improve the design by sticking on the label rather than having the polypropylene film there. I guess that's just part of the manufacturing, that they make all the boxes like that and then slip the sleeves in afterwards. So, thinking about the design and how it be dismantled is not that common. It's becoming more common. And if you were to be in the design shop when they were making these boxes, it would maybe a slightly different outcome if you were thinking, what happens when I throw it away?
Now I think it's interesting that you said that, because there is at least one major game developer that has been asking that exact question. I'm talking about Sports Interactive, the creators of the Football Manager series, who last week released their latest title in the series, and this is the box that they sold their game in. According to its creators, this packaging was made using 100% recycled cardboard, while inside you'll find a manual that's been made using 100% recycled paper, with any printing that's been done on either having used vegetable or water-based ink. So that means if I want to recycle this box, I can throw everything except for the disc itself in with my paper and cardboard recycling, rather than finding somewhere that can handle plastics. Sports Interactive is committed to selling all its future games in boxes like this one, which, according to its sales forecast for this series alone, just for Football Manager, could mean 20 tons less plastic being used in their production process each and every year. But hang on, why does that even matter? I've just recycled a game that was sold in a plastic box, and from what I've been told and from what I've seen, most of it will end up being reused. So why make the switch? Well, for a start, how much of this packaging is made using recycled materials? The simple answer is, we don't know. There's nothing on any of these boxes to suggest that any of it was made with recycled goods, in fact, which isn't usually a great sign, whereas at least with this, we do have a commitment from the manufacturer. But even aside from that, as someone that lives in the UK that has just managed to go out in the last week and fully, or close enough, recycle a video game, a plastic box video game, I don't think this system is as good as we've made it sound. Unlike paper or cardboard, which you can usually recycle outside your front door, plastic packaging requires you to travel to a local recycling site, if you have one in your area, that can actually accept it. Which means, of course, that we don't recycle much of this stuff at all. A UK government report earlier this year claimed that we as a nation are recycling 46.2% of our plastic packaging compared to 79% of packaging made from paper or cardboard. There's a pretty big gap there between the two materials, although in reality it could be significantly worse than this. A report from an independent environmental consultancy in 2018 claimed that the UK government could be fudging its plastic recycling numbers by up to a third. Which takes us back to this new Football Manager box. Alongside Sports Interactive's announcement that all future games from the studio will be sold in packaging like this, they also released the names of their suppliers so that other games companies could look into doing something similar. I asked the studio's director, Miles Jacobson, why they decided to do that.
So I think anyone who does things and isn't transparent about it doesn't really get what's needed here. Plus, the solution that we came up with, it took us about 6 months to put together. There will be better solutions out there. We're not turning around and saying that our solution is the best. There will be better, and when there are better, we'll move to those better solutions as well.
It's worth mentioning, by the way, that this box costs about 20p more to manufacture per unit than a box like this one, which means that games companies are having to make a decision here between profit and their environmental impact. And Sports Interactive, they're not an independent studio, they're owned by Sega. So I asked Jacobson how exactly that conversation went.
At most corporations, a developer in my position turning around and saying to corporate, we want to do eco-friendly packaging, and it's going to cost 22 cents, euro cents a unit more, they'd get laughed out the room. But with Sega, I was able to say, look, we want to do this, we are doing it, we did the investigation, I put it into our budgets, no one noticed that it was in the budgets. We want to do this, we are going to do this. And Sega's response after we told them that we were doing it was, great, we'll roll it out through all of our other studios as well in the West.
Wow.
And we're going to start to look at it for our releases in Japan and Korea.
So that's where we're at. You can recycle physical video games, even plastic ones, if your country has the infrastructure for it. But at the moment, in the UK at least, it doesn't seem like many people are doing it because it's a bit of a hassle. And I know we've overlooked the role of the second-hand market in this video, other than getting a bit cross at CEX for offering us 10p. 10p! But that's because this issue is bigger than just that, really. I mean, yes, some games are going to hold their value for decades to come, but like, what am I going to do with big family games in 2030? You know? Who's going to buy that? But hey, so many games are going digital, aren't they? It's not like there's the same kind of environmental cost to consider when downloading, 150 gig of Red Dead Redemption 2, is there? Is there? Thank you so much for watching this video. We do lots of other stuff on this channel, from investigating Twitch streamers to showing Peter Molyneux just how many boxes he's responsible for. Welcome to your own dining room.
Oh my God, look at all this. How the hell did you find all these?
And if you like our work, please do consider supporting us on Patreon. It's the reason we get to do any of this in the first place. Cheers. Finally, we'd also like to thank this month's sponsor, NordVPN. A VPN or virtual private network can be a useful thing to have for a few different reasons. In short, it redirects your connection to the internet via a remote server while encrypting any data you may be sending or receiving, and also masking your IP address at the same time. It's something worth thinking about if you'd like to improve your online privacy, or let's be real here, watch a different country's Netflix library. Do you know the US has every season of Lost? Every season. Anyway, if you go to nordvpn.com/peoplemakegames, there's a Black Friday deal that'll offer a 3-year subscription at 84% off the default price, plus 4 additional months free of charge and access to their Nord Locker service, which you can use to securely store and share files online. Thanks again to NordVPN for sponsoring this video.